So back in 2003, as we started to see like lots of activity around the restoration of our waterfront, we realized that the city was importing people in to do this work. And we realized, well, we've got lots of folks in our own communities that need some serious jobs. How about if we figure out ways to train them in the skills of ecological restoration? And so they started working doing wetland restoration, and we got them those skills, but now we've moved on to things like urban forestry management, to green roof installation, to wetland and riverfront restoration as well, and also brownfield remediation, because as you know, many of the contaminated properties in this country are also located in poor communities. It takes a very specialized level of training that's going to allow people to learn how to clean them up safely. So you want to be able to train people in their own communities to do that kind of work. And since 2003, we've developed the capacity to actually employ or actually get meaningful living wage employment for more than 85% of the people that went through our program. So, and with 10% of them actually in college, which makes me incredibly, incredibly happy. But it's through this that, we've made the connection between environmental remediation and poverty alleviation in ways that improve various regions while supporting the most vulnerable populations in them. We also, at Sustainable South Bronx, recognized that we also were working to create new markets themselves. So we actually started a green roof installation business. And green roofs, for those of you who don't know, it's a sustainable building technique that's been used in Europe for way more than 50 years right now. And you're planting a roof with some structured soil medium, and they've got some really awesome benefits. Everything from holding stormwater so that it does, up to 70 to 90% of it actually, so it doesn't have to be processed through a really, expensive sewage treatment process. They also it's a green layer, so it actually cleans the air, and it also provides an energy conserving layer. So in particular, in the summertime, you don't have to use as much air conditioning. So it's got all sorts of really cool benefits as such. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I showing you so many pictures of people working? Because these are green jobs that cannot be outsourced. You're not going to take your roof to China to have somebody put some stuff on it. So, but, this is the roof that I planted on my house last year. This is my upstairs neighbor, who actually happens to be the son of one of the first-year graduates from our ecological restoration job training program. And this is what it looks like about a year later. Yeah. One of the projects that we worked on at SSB was, really looking at what do we have. Everything can be considered an asset if you look at it properly and treat it that way. And so we realized, we just borrowed an idea from Europe called an eco-industrial center. And all it is a collection of businesses that use recycled materials as raw materials, or in the best sense of the word, the waste of one company becomes the raw material for another, which is really awesome. And so we looked at our own community and realized, we're like the capital of like recycling stuff, so why don't we figure out a way to do something with it? And we also were in an area that had barge and rail access as well. So it was really interesting to know that all that stuff was there, so that we can, if we made products in this community, that we could also ship them out, not using, diesel-based, trucks, which was really awesome. So that was a really interesting thing. And we realized the bottom line is the stuff was already there. So we wanted to actually make good of it and not just pretend that, because it was out of sight, out of mind, and going to a landfill someplace else, that it wasn't a concern to those of us that lived and worked in New York City. And, the bottom line is you could create stuff like this, that things that actually have real value. But for us, the really important reason behind doing all this was the people. I live in the poorest congressional district in the country. I mean, most folks don't think about that. They think it's somewhere in Appalachia in West Virginia or something. But no, it's in New York City, one of the richest places on this planet. Now, Green for All is a national campaign that I started with Van Jones, from out in Oakland, California, and it plans to use the green economy to move and lift people out of poverty and create real pathways out of it, so that the guy, who's learning how to install some solar panels here, can actually move on up to actually become an electrical engineer, with some of those skills. And Green for All has been working on the legislative effort really, really strongly, and actually last year got $125 million snuck into that energy bill. And of course, President Bush decided, like, even though there were gajillions of dollars given away to the oil and coal industry, that $125 million, it was just too much to give to communities for green job training. So he struck that. But, he's going to be gone soon, and hopefully there'll be a really good change. America does need a Green New Deal and government investment on the scale of the Marshall Plan, that will allow funding and incentives, and investments that will actually encourage the development of green job-creating industries and manufacturing companies and the whole shebang, stateside, right here in this country, to actually create the kind of green job economy that we absolutely, really, truly need. Now, I loved and appreciated all my time in the nonprofit, because it means re-examining business as usual so that we can actually, make the most out of the same dollar. It's really helping people see that, if you're a business leader or if you're a municipality or if you're a community group, that your value rises once you discover that the value in these other folks rise as well. Because, there's so much fear and distrust about working, across boundaries, across stakeholder sectors, that in the green economy, we all need to work together so that we can all benefit. And so we've got to figure out ways to help people feel as though they're a part of something bigger. Because in this era, of what we've supposedly experienced, of all this great economic change and economic growth, poor people of all colors around the world were getting poorer, and their communities were getting more toxic. There is this misconception out there that in order to see your economy grow, that you're going to have to do business as usual. And because cleaning up the environment and really mitigating climate is just too big a cost. Well, I would like to say that the bill that humanity has been paying for creating all these toxic empires, essentially, and not supporting poor people is too big a bill for us to pay any longer. And so environmental justice is civil rights in the 21st century. It is. And people are aching, and I mean absolutely aching, for folks to think about what else they can do. Several months ago, we commemorated the 40th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s death. And, he had that amazing prophetic dream, right? He's out looking out, he's on top of the mountain looking out at the promised land, and he sees, this beautiful, beautiful future. And what do you think he saw? Do you think he saw, 25% of the world's incarcerated right here on American soil? Do you think he saw poor children, in toxic communities getting even more poor and more toxic? Do you think he saw, people struggling in communities and not finding any relief, from their own economic burdens? No. What Dr. King saw was a future that wasn't black or white or any of those red or yellow, whatever. What he saw was a future that was green. And that was green for all of us and included all of us as active participants in it. And I know because I saw it too, and I know that the rest of you did as well. And the bottom line is, if we don't think, because I know we're all tired at this point of watching tributes to our collective failures, like Occupy, all sorts, of the media and of our minds. Because I know it's all time for us to start building monuments to our hope and possibility. It is time. Thank you.